Hey guys, Joshua here, welcome back to Season 7 Road to Masters, episode number 2, second part of our placements. First part of our placements, we went 3 and 2, so we're continuing with that, seeing how high we can get ranked. First game of the day, boys and girls, we were playing as Nautilus top lane. If you remember from last season, Nautilus was probably one of my best champions, but now he's becoming pretty meta because Courage the Colossus Nautilus is absolutely busted, so it's kind of a shame to play with Nautilus when he's meta because he gets picked and banned a fair amount, and people actually now know how to play against him because they're actually used to playing against him, so not really having as much success, but we're still going to try him out at least and to see how it goes because he was still my baby from last season. So this game we're actually playing against Jace, who is not just a Jace, he's Pepinero. I don't know if you guys remember Pepinero from the LCS, yeah, he's been in the LCS for a while, considered a very good mid laner. But Jace top lane is pretty much just another mid lane champion, so this is a pretty good player, and to be playing up against him in your placements, not that easy. He also roamed with his CP, and he got like a double kill or something bot lane, which let him get his Black Cleaver, and then once he got Black Cleaver, you can see my score, I'm not having the best of times this game, and he became pretty hard for me to deal with. Like you saw there, he ran back into top lane and just shout me, pretty much just like that. So yeah, not the most nice of people to play against for Nautilus, really. Anyway, we're trying to make some plays, and this game isn't one of those games which is going too well for us, but we're also not really far behind. We don't have any towers, even though the kills are kind of equal, but this is kind of what happens in higher elo. You don't need kills to win games. You can see the enemy team didn't have high kills than us until this point. This is the first point where they've had high kills than us, and they're still destroying us. So we're trying our best as Nautilus, just press R on the enemy carry, be tanky, tank things up. I got in on Ez with my R, so that zoned him. I get on him here as well, we go for him. Ari for some reason tries to focus down the brand, that doesn't work. She then fires her charm backwards, that doesn't work, unsurprisingly. And then Ez mops everyone up, and that's pretty ugly. And as you can see here, our base is now naked. We're now open, and it's a little bit rough for us to play with. So this is not really the best start to the day, honestly. A bit of flaming going on as well. You know how it is, the CUS at the end of the day, innit? But not really the best start to things. And to be fair, I put my hand up on this one, boys and girls. Wasn't the best start to the game. Wasn't the best start to the game. Before we get into the next one, by the way, don't forget to check the giveaway down below. $1,000 RP giveaways going on right now. Check it out down below, free to enter. It's in the description. Christmas giveaway. Enter if you like free stuff. If you don't like free stuff, don't enter. Game number 2. Nautilus top lane again, surprise, surprise. Jace top lane again, surprise, surprise. Same skin, blimey. Except this time it actually isn't even the same person. This is a different person, but he's it's actually a pretty similar tale, a pretty similar story. That first play that you saw topside, where I went in on the Jace, was when Kha'Zix was coming around to gank him, so I went in. It was a bit early, but I went in, but then Kha'Zix actually gets countered by Vi in the river as well, so we get absolutely wrecked and absolutely destroyed. At some point though, when you're playing these matchups for Nautilus, I reach a point where they're not, in the beginning they're very hard for you as Nautilus, and then you get your Sunfire Cape and they're not as hard for you as Nautilus, but then they get their Black Cleaver and they're very hard for you as Nautilus until you get your next armor item. So it's kind of back and forth a lot. I was getting destroyed before, but now I'm close to being okay again, but he's going to get his Black Cleaver soon, and then it's going to be very hard for me as well. And as we can see, well, you can't see this, but if I ever flash up the tab here as well, this is another game where the Jace roams and gets loads of kills and just becomes... The thing is, for me, is that I feel like it's really hard for me to carry games when I can't even control my own lane, so that's really rough for me. And I mean, I have no... again, I'm really not trying to shit on my team for this at all. It's just even if he roams and he gets kills, even if I'm not the one dying, at the end of the day, if I can't control that person, then it's really hard for me to carry the game. And to be honest, I never really pick Nautilus to carry games anyway. I more so just pick Nautilus because I know that I can get carried on him, so it's not really a big deal if I'm not able to be in the driving seat necessarily. This, by the way, is a little bit of a cheeky. If you rewind that right there, how Kha'Zix dies, it feels a bit unnecessary. We finally caught someone, but then Kha'Zix just suicides. But actually, that was a pretty weird hitbox for the Orianna ult. I do feel for him a little bit there. But either way, another one, 23 minutes, nothing. This one was actually loads of kills this time. But all on the enemy team, mostly, they had double our kills. So, not a great game. Yeah, just a little bit ugly, really. These aren't the best ways to start our placements here. We were already 3 and 2, so now this makes us 3 and 4. So, not great. Not really what we wanted to see. We want to place as high as possible so that we can start ranking up as soon as possible and kind of skip the low league so I can try and like ride the wave of all the higher, like the master tier challenger players who'll be playing around like high plat and low diamond and stuff. Oops, holy crap, I just punched my table, that's not good. Anyway, if things don't go well, you go back to your roots. My roots here, Lee Sin jungle, game number 3. 7 minutes, not too much action, and then I find Vi all on her lonesome trying to kill the scuttle crab. Well, that's first blood for me. Thank you very much, Vi. I'll take that any day of the week. Lee Sin, by the way, is like really OP in this meta. He's one of the best junglers, so it's hard to get him. But I managed to get him a few times. These were actually recorded a little bit in the past, so he wasn't as quite heavily contested as he is now. But he's really solid. And my Lee Sin is actually still pretty good. So I did stop playing him when Lee Sin was a little bit harder. Oh, Shadow, what are you doing? When he was a little bit harder to play because he wasn't like really strong. Whereas now it's like he's really strong. So even if you don't play him to the same level of efficiency, you'll still be good on him. Let me just let Shadow. He's being a little bit of an upty, aren't you, Shadow? Go on, Shadow. There we go. Good boy, Shadow. Alright. So this game starts off pretty well for us as well. We've got 4 kills in our favour, that's nice. I'm being a part of 3 of them, that's also nice as well. And something which I really like to do are these like return ganks. These return ganks, if I could even speak Englando, are really tilting for the enemy team, for the enemy player. This Nasus is going to be very upset about dying, running back to lane and dying instantly again. He's going to be really annoyed at that. So I really recommend those kind of plays just to tilt the enemy team. Something you don't see here as well is that I've actually died here. I died when I was just walking into the enemy jungle, and then like there were 3 people sitting in a bush for me, and then I respawn, walk into their jungle again, and then you can see in the chat, I'm like, why is every bush I walked into camped by like 2 or more people? Like, I get really tilted. Well, not really tilted, I say mercy, I'm not really angry. But I'm just like, holy crap, I'm trying to make plays, and they're always waiting for me. So that was a little bit of an ugly one. Something as well that I kind of want to mention about the way I was playing this game is that if you look at this team fight, look how much impact I have, right? I started off by queuing Vi and jumping into the fight, right? So I queued Vi, jumped into the fight, missed my second Q on her, missed my third Q on Victor, walking around. Am I doing much really? Not really. Have I done anything here? Probably not. If they bring up that like damage graph, another Q miss, fantastic stuff, Foxy. If you bring up that damage graph like they do in the LCS to see how much damage people did in the team fight, nice, another miss Q, excellent stuff, Foxy. This one will probably be like 50 damage. Like the beginning of the fight, 50 damage, good job, Fox, and then nothing. But I still shield people, so I get assists. That's what it's all about, right? But something as well, like specifically, that I think is, if you're watching this and trying to learn from it, I really don't, like, obviously my Q accuracy is just a little bit poor, but I don't use my ults enough. Like right there, I think I should have kicked Nasus into Thresh. That was like a good guaranteed easy kill there. Maybe not, because Thresh was already dead. Like right here, I think I should be kicking Vi like away from their team, just get her down faster. I could Q in on Nasus here and maybe do a kick flash, but again, I'm really low, so you could argue that honestly I didn't have to use my ult. There wasn't any amazing ult opportunities, but I would like to think that's mostly hindsight. Like in hindsight, I didn't even need to use my ult, and I didn't use my ult, so it wasn't a big deal. But the practicalities of it were more like, okay, maybe I did need to use my ult here. Like I could have easily needed to use my ult, you know, but I still didn't. So I'm doing a bit of split pushing. If you look at my score, by the way, there are a lot of small skirmishes that we skipped out on, but I'm just like getting pretty fed right here. And again, jumping in on the Victor and 1v1ing him as well when he tries to like defend the split push. Having the Baron buff with its huge wave of minions is really nice. And someone even says in the chat, nice one, Lee. Doesn't that feel good when someone on your team strokes your ego a little bit? That's nice. It's nice. It's a nice comparison to what they usually say to you. Like that the jungler from like my first game who called me an autistic kid or something like that. It feels a bit nice to be someone who's very nice to me, someone who's a bit more gentle and more receptive of my feelings. Some good side steps coming in through me here as well, which ultimately lead to this Gangplank being hit up, which is nice. I don't have to tank that hook. Gangplank can tank it for me. Fantastic stuff. And there we go. Third game of the day, I believe that was. Yeah, so we're now 4-4. 4-4 from 3-2. Not great, but it's better than 3-4. So there we go. And this brings us to the next game we're going to be playing. But before we get to that, I need to take a sip of water here because my voice is going a little bit. So I'm just going to... Oh, Marshy Token 7. There it is. Next game. Eve Jungle. Well, this was a game I didn't really want to pick Eve in. Someone said we needed AP, and I'd been playing Eve on stream on my Smurf and having a pretty good show of things. So I was like, you know what, I can play Eve. I can play Eve. I've played it on my Smurf. I can play Eve. Really awesome flash play here that tanks the Lee Sin Qs to save Zed. Sadly, like by using my flash that way, I was pretty heavy dedicating to this fight, but Zed doesn't really flash back in with me, so like not to like flame him for that or anything, but again, that's just like a solo queue miscommunication where I'm pretty heavily dedicated to that play and he's not. So that's just how it goes really. It's solo queue at the end of the day, innit? And then I try and invade the Lee Sin, so I think I might be able to catch him kind of low, but he's level 4, I'm level 3. I think I kind of caught him, but he smited the red buff and got the heal for it. I also got the level up from it, and it was just like, since then, Syndra decides to roam as well, and it's just, at the end of the day, a terrible play in the end. But this is like, this Lee Sin is playing that quite aggressive there, because he doesn't actually have his flash, so the fact that he's doing that is a little bit risky. But either way, that was mostly my fault again. Like, I shouldn't have really been putting my team in that position. And this is honestly like the story of this game, in my opinion. Is a lot of me playing a champion I'm not comfortable on, and this Lee Sin out jungled me hands down. But a lot of it, he had some pretty good timing, and I was just a little bit late to the show a few times. So I was, you know, and also if you look top lane, this wasn't all Lee Sin either. This was a lot of just like my gangplank was did not have much pressure. I don't know if I press like tab, maybe you can pause on a frame where I press tab. I can't actually see it, but I'm pretty sure he's getting absolutely railed by this Darius, so he has a bit of a rough time as well. And it's kind of hard, like if you're not having a great showing, like he's 1 and 3, well, I guess at 1 and 3 it doesn't look too bad, but he take it from me guys, this guy had no pressure this game. He was getting a bit destroyed. And if you're playing a jungler if you're struggling as a jungler and you've got a solo laner who's also like struggling really hard, then it makes it really tricky for you to play. So I see my opportunity here where I might be able to go in and do something. This is a pretty low health Lee Sin, but sadly I'm really squishy. It turns into a 2v1 and I can't do crap. Maybe I should smite the Skull Crab there for the extra healing, but I probably wouldn't have changed anything. I was just really weak at this point, and you know, there was a point where I was only like 2 and 3 or something like that. I was like 1 and 2, not too bad. But then, if you see the score at the end of the game, I just tried way too hard to make. Well, not to be honest, it wasn't like at this point. I just had to run at people and try and make plays, so it wasn't really a big deal that I'm feeding my ass off, but I did end up feeding my ass off pretty hard. I think I end this game like 2 and 7 or something like that. So not the greatest, showing for my even. And honestly, the biggest, 277. There you go. And honestly, the biggest thing for me is just that I picked a champion who I wasn't particularly good at because I thought that it wouldn't matter. Like I thought I was better on Eve than I was, and apparently I'm not. So probably won't be picking Eve for some time. My Eve performance here was nothing special. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Pretty terrible. This brings us to our last game coming up here, but we're now 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 isn't great. It means the best we can get is 5 and 5. My damage actually was not that bad though. You see that the damage is pretty much the same as my my AD carry and my top laner. So considering I was 2 and 7 as a jungler on the losing team, to have similar amount of damage is really not that bad, I guess. But either way, not ideal. But yeah, the last game coming through here, guys, and we're on our bread and butter once again. Lee Sin jungle, excellent stuff. So hopefully we can come 5 and 5 here. Being 4 and 6 would not be ideal, but 5 and 5 would be pretty average. In fact, pretty much the definition of the word average in the dictionary would be 5 and 5. So starting the game off with some good bot lane ganks, which is nice. Bot lane is always a good lane to get ahead, because if you can at least, then you have the potential of getting a fed AD carry is really strong, and also on top of that you have more potential kills if you go bot lane than if you go in any other lane, because there are 2 people in that lane. We start the game. Look at my face as well. If you didn't see that face, you might want to rewind and see it. I'm pretty happy with myself here. We start the game off with some cheeky plays. Something I'm doing here as well very deliberately is I'm making sure to ward hop away from this Poppy here, like very far away from her, because I don't want her to press W and cock block my ward hop. So I ward hop really far away and make sure that her W doesn't stop that. Get the kill there. I'm 2-0-2 and our team's got 6 kills. This is going to transition into a Fire Dragon as well. I don't have a smite, but I don't really think there's anything for us to worry about here, so shouldn't be a big deal. But Fire Dragon is the best dragon in the game for snowballing in solo. Arguably the best dragon like overall, but especially for snowballing in solo queue. Like if you can get dragon, and if you can snowball from that, because like it gives you a bunch of like raw stats, it's really good for that kind of stuff. But either way, we're setting up a trap here. I'm pretty far ahead, so I'm playing quite aggressive going for plays like this, like going for the traps. And we got a lot of damage on Elise. Fizz slides into me and is about to auto-attack me to finish me off. And I managed to throw down the Q and finish him off. almost make pretty sick. That's a pretty sexy play in my opinion. Almost get this pretty sexy play on the Ez rail there as well. But sadly, he has his heal, so he survives for a little bit longer. But this is looking a little bit ugly for us as well. I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this one. And the answer is I'm not. So everyone comes down. That's a 5-man party in the bot lane right there. So it doesn't go too well for us, but not too bad either. Another dragon coming through here as well, which is good stuff. Cloud Dragon, not quite as good as... Not quite... I can't even bloody speak today, holy moly. I'm sorry about that. Not quite as good as Fire Dragon or Infernal. But it's still a dragon, it's still decent. And especially if you get really late game and you start going for the Elder Dragons, then it's really nice overall. Now this is a bit of an awkward play here where my kick is blocked by Janna's Q. So Ez doesn't actually go flying backwards at all there. So my kick may as well have not done anything. So that made me have to burn my flash. But overall it's, you know, at least I didn't die. Pretty boosted Q here, not going to lie. Followed by my kick into the Braum shield, which is also pretty unlucky. But with this build here that I've gone for too, if you can see at the bottom right there, or probably center right I suppose. Center right now. Well, maybe center right. Regardless, the Moorman Mortius rush is really useful against people like Elise and their team specifically, having Poppy, Fizz, Elise. It means that in any of these fights, I'm a lot tankier than I look, because I get that more shield, and on top of that as well, obviously I get the defensive stats from it too. So right, like, if you're going to rewind one thing from this video, I'd like you to rewind this team fight, because I think this is pretty much the best way to play a team fight as Lee Sin, and this is how you become useful in the late game. Like, not when you're not just like kicking people and displacing them. Like, I jump in on the Ez, I land a Q on the Ez, and I just jump in. I just dedicate really hard to fighting Ez. What that gets for me is I fight Ez. I actually kill Ez in the end as well, but I completely take Ez out of the fight. I take out Braum as well because he's just trying to defend for Ez. I take out Elise. Well, I don't take her out, but I almost take out Elise as well. But like, that's just how you want to play team fights. Like, even though I only got like 1 kill, which is still fine, trading myself the AD carry, it's just like, that's so much pressure for a team fight to take away the support, the AD carry, and the jungler as well. Because then that means your team is now like 4v2, so it's really good stuff. But anyway, don't get the Baron there, which is a bit unfortunate. This video does, this game skips forward a little bit here. It would have been nice to get some more clips, but either way, you can kind of see how this game is going by, you know, by this point, because we're pushing into the enemy's base, and I'm 14, 6, and 13. Is Shaq coming back in? Coming back in, Chad Will? He's coming back in, and there we go. So this is going to finish off this last game today. The last game in our placements, and we placed 5 and 5. I was actually really happy about this game, as you can kind of see by my reaction, because this was a game where we were like, this is a game where I had to carry late game. Like, I had some really good team fights that carried, so I was really happy about that. And Lee Sin late game is not great, so the fact that I could still carry late game as Lee Sin, I was really happy about. But either way, I get placed in Platinum 2, as you can see there, which is one of the highest. Plat 1 was the highest. So getting Plat 2 is pretty fine for going 5 and 5, honestly. And I'm really happy about this as well. Like, that was actually really high damage for Lee Sin for a game that went really, really late. That's like, I was like really happy about that. So really happy about this game overall. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, hit me with that cheeky thumbs up. You can subscribe to me for more League of Legends content. Find me on Facebook and Twitter, casual streaming, twitch.tv/Frogshop. All those links are down below in el descripcione. Most importantly, boys and girls, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.